Rich people, really, really rich people, live below their means. They live below their means. They got a lot more money to do it on, and so they probably live bigger than we ever will, but they live below your means, and that's something I've seen when I've interviewed, you know, Richard Branson,
right.
Warren Buffett. I mean, people who are
He can have a spaceship and still live below his means.
I know. Murdoch, those people all live below their means. They're brilliant, they're hard workers, and they live below their means.
How do we choose how to invest our money versus, there was a great quote in your book, and you never become a millionaire making deposits in a savings account.
Which I saw in the video. You were also saying something else. That was a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
But what do we do in terms of the fastest way to make a lot of money? That's everyone here wants to know.
Rob a bank.
Okay. Thank you. Good night. So should we go the stock market route and choose stocks, or should we go in the mutual fund route, or both?
Well, I like ETFs, low fund ETFs, but I also know that I don't know enough to be able to manage ETFs for a very long term.
Do you all know what ETFs are?
Exchange traded funds.
Exchange traded funds, which are baskets of stocks that trade like a stock. So you can buy it like it'll have a ticker symbol as if it's a stock, but basically it's a fund.
I like those actually for your account. Like if you have a little account that is your stock account, that you want to, you know a company, you want to test a company, you know an industry, you want to try to get an industry, you want low fees. But I also think you don't go to you don't diagnose your own dental work and you don't fix your own tooth. I kind of think if it's the big stuff, I kind of like
you need some expertise, right? So either you have an advisor, and that advisor may also put you into some mutual funds where it is useful to have what's called an active manager of a mutual fund. So ETFs, electronic traded funds, exchange traded funds, I'm sorry, they don't have an active manager, right? It's a basket of stocks that are, let's say, Chinese pharmaceuticals.
So the fees are really low.
So the fees are really low because it's done by a computer. Basically, it's a basket of things. And things fall out and things comes back in. Here's an example of where you wouldn't want to do an ETF. Say you're really excited about alternative energy and about solar energy. Bad idea to have an exchange traded fund in solar, because the solar industry is full of companies, some of which are really fantastic, some of which have no earnings, and as we've seen in the news, disappear from the face of the earth. So I would be willing to pay a commission to a mutual fund manager who is an expert on the solar industry, who can say, this company's nothing. They only have solar in their name. And remember, this happened in the tech bubble, right? They were just companies that had names. They will tell you. Or if I'm investing in something in China or India, I might want somebody who can say, there are companies in China and India that are garbage too, but here are the best of breed. That's where you want an expert. ETFs are great for big baskets where I believe the U.S. economy is going to surge ahead, and I can buy a basket of stocks that have all the major U.S. funds in them.
I think there's two ways to think about investing too. There's your 401k or your company retirement plan. You want to know inside out the mutual fund offerings there. You want to make sure that you have the right asset allocation, meaning if you are 25, you do not have the same looking portfolio as someone who's 45 or 65, and you would be so surprised.
And that's much more important to your final outcome, by the way. People are always surprised that having the right allocation and matching that to your risk tolerance, because here's why. When people say, how can that possibly be that investing according to my risk tolerance gets me a better return? First of all, there is actual science to this. The idea that a properly diversified portfolio can get you a better return with lower risk than not diversifying it properly. So that's something you can explain to your clients, and we've written about in the book. But more importantly, if you have a portfolio that's not matched to your temperament, then when the Dow drops 8% one day, you're not going to buy, you're going to sell. You're going to lock in that loss, and you're going to stay away from the market for a long time. Because usually what happens, it goes down and then goes up, and you missed all that because you didn't invest for your temperament. If you invest for your temperament, you're likely to say, you know what, I checked this, I'm comfortable with it, I'm not going to make stupid decisions about my money. And then you don't make stupid decisions about your money.
I want to take a quick step back. You mentioned exchanges bought a home recently. Hearing a lot of questions coming in saying interest rates are at their lowest points ever. The home values, the market is down. Is this a good time for me to buy? And I always say it depends.
It depends.
Talk a little bit more about why it depends.
And it does depend. It's a big asterisk. Well, first of all, I bought in 2010 during the whole first-time homebuyer tax credit bump up in the market, and then it went down again. But it doesn't matter. for me, because I've got 3 little kids, I've got to be in a school district, I've got to be in a suburb that is the one I want, I needed the space, you know, all of the things were lining up for me. Mortgage rates are so low now, I'm already refinancing. It's unbelievable. A 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.99%. In our lives, we will never, ever, 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 ever see this again. It depends though, because if you are maybe thinking you're going to get transferred to Seattle, I don't think you should buy a house in the tri-state area right now, because your job is the engine of your personal economy.
And that's crucial in this economy.
So
you might have to go to Seattle.
Everything comes from the job. So when the job is there, the savings is there, your credit score is there, then yes, you should buy it, even if prices continue to go down a little bit.
What if I'm someone in a situation though where if I were to buy, I have just enough of my savings account to cover the down payment, and then once I get into this home, I have to start over from scratch?
They're not going to even give you a mortgage. Because they are, I'll tell you right now, even with my refinancing, they want 6 months, they have to see 6 months of all my expenses in liquid cash now in a bank account.
And people get mad
So
about
they're not
that.
even let you get
But we, you know, we can't have it both ways. We want the banks to be careful so that they exist and we don't have to bail them out again. And we want them to lend. And they're having trouble finding this middle space where they should. Your "it depends" though is crucial, because I've been yelling from the top of my lungs that there's never been a better time to buy, except it always comes with the "it depends," and we write that in the book. I mean, you might think from listening to Christina on TV that she doesn't think you should really buy, and you might think from listening to me that I only think you should buy, but the reality is in the middle.
What can you say to encourage us all? You talk about that early in the book in terms of telling the truth. To face that, to say, okay, let's organize, let's have a family conversation and know where the crock pot, who's getting the crock pot and the pearls. And
the life, I mean, if you have kids, I mean, the checklist is the 3-month savings, what's the jobs, the solidity of the job, how much money is in the bank, how much are you starting to invest, do you have, I don't know, a 20-year term life insurance policy if you have little kids, because, I mean, if you lose one income, I mean, you're really in big trouble. Just covering the bases and starting from that point and then growing from there. Too many people don't even have the bases covered here in the
And if you don't know about, if your family hasn't had, it's a complicated discussion to have for most families, because most people just don't get to the point where they have the conversation about transferring wealth, growing for the next generation. Some very successful families do this very, very well. But what if you're not one of those big, rich, established families, and you want to have that conversation, if all of a sudden you get everybody in the family talking about why preservation and transfer of wealth to the next generation is important, and how the younger ones will benefit from that, all of a sudden better spending decisions are being made, especially by the young people in the house who aren't necessarily the best influencers of great spending decisions, right? But when you realize, you teach about compounding. Right? Now, if the compounding, I'm not saying kids shouldn't have Xboxes or whatever it is we buy for them, but if you have the conversation about transferring of wealth, then every financial decision can be held up against its future value, right? The future value of paying X amount of money for this versus saving and investing it. And that'll all lead to choices, because we're not going to have a house that is barren of toys and enjoyment and trips and things like that. But if the kids understand that my entire life will be different because we've set me up a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Then that makes for a better conversation. But one of the worst things you can do in an economy like this, and I've seen it happen, and it's happened in my workplace, where someone's been offered offered more responsibility, and they've said not unless it comes with the raise, which I think is a stupid thing to do in this economy. Now,
then you have nothing.
I think you make a deal.
No raise and
I think it's fine to make a deal, to say, okay, I'll do it for free. Can we talk about this in 6 months? Or is there an expectation that if I exceed it, I can come to you for a raise? Everything in life is a negotiation. Don't be afraid to negotiate.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Did you know that everything in life is negotiable? I didn't either. And then when I started, Lee Miller wrote this book with his daughter. I can't remember what it's called.
About negotiating.
How to negotiate anything.
How to negotiate anything, yeah.
And it blew my mind, because I wish that the same person who had signed me up for my 401k when I was 21 would have handed me that book. Because then I would have been buying property over the past 10 years instead of sitting on my hands worried about, you know, I mean. It
takes all kinds to make.
Yeah.
And Ali Velshi, we would like to award you with the 2012 Thought Leader Award from World of Money.
Wow.
Thank you
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Oh, wow.
Wait,
Mine's just, okay, well, let's swap then.
Okay.
There you go. That is excellent. Thank you so much.
And you have a book bag.
Let's make sure that's in the picture. I like that. I like the green.
Green's good.
Well, I have to say, we didn't write the book knowing the sort of thing that World of Money does specifically, but we actually kind of could have.
Absolutely. World of Money knows how to speak money, right?
No, they do. I mean, they talk specifically about the things that we write about. The idea that you have to save, you have to earn, you have to be charitable.
And you have to start young.
Yeah, you have to start young. It really, really helps to do that. And we've really been strong believers that if you can get young people to understand money and to become financially literate, it's going to be a big, big help later on. So we really, really applaud the work that World of Money is doing.
We are bullish on World of Money.